Hello, everybody. This is a story about love, trust, and the painful truth that can shatter even the most beautiful dreams. My name is Alex, and this is how my perfect wedding turned into the worst day of my life. One day before the ceremony, I uncovered a secret that changed everything. What would you do if you found out the person you loved had been lying to you all along? This is my story. For as long as I can remember, I had dreamed of finding someone to share my life with. And when I met Emma, I thought I had finally found that person. She was everything I had ever wanted. Beautiful, kind, intelligent, and full of life. We had been together for 3 years, and when I finally proposed to her, it felt like the most natural thing in the world. Our wedding was set to be a grand celebration, a day that would mark the beginning of our forever. The preparations were nearly complete, and I could feel the excitement in the air. The venue was a stunning lakeside estate, decorated with white roses and golden lights. Our families and friends had already started arriving, and everything seemed to be falling perfectly into place. I spent hours making sure every little detail was perfect. The music playlist, the seating arrangements, the vows I had written from the depths of my heart. My mother had tears in her eyes as she helped with the final touches, and my father gave me a firm pat on the back, telling me how proud he was. I was about to step into a new chapter of my life, and I had never been happier. But sometimes, perfection is nothing more than an illusion. It all started the evening before the wedding. I had spent most of the day finalizing details with my best man, Jake, and making sure everything was in order. Emma had been busy with her bridesmaids, and we had barely seen each other that day. That evening I was in my hotel room scrolling through my phone when a message popped up from an unknown number. "You deserve to know the truth before it's too late." My heart skipped a beat. At first I thought it was a prank. Maybe some wedding jitters getting the best of someone. But then another message came through. "Emma isn't who you think she is. She's been lying to you all along." I felt a cold chill run down my spine. Who would send something like this the night before my wedding? I wanted to ignore it, but something inside me wouldn't let me. My hands were trembling as I typed back. "Who are you? What are you talking about?" A few seconds later, my phone vibrated again. This time, it was a photo, and what I saw made my blood freeze. It was Emma, locked in an intimate embrace with another man. The timestamp showed it was taken just a week ago. My hands shook as I zoomed in on the image, trying to convince myself it wasn't real. Maybe it was an old photo. Maybe it was someone who looked like her? But deep down, I already knew the truth. The background was familiar. A restaurant we had dined at just a few days before. And the way she looked at him. It was the same way she used to look at me. I stared at the photo, unable to breathe. My mind raced through every moment we had shared, every promise she had made, every time she had looked me in the eyes and told me she loved me. Was it all a lie? I needed answers. I needed to hear it from her. Without thinking, I grabbed my jacket and rushed to her hotel room. My heart pounded in my chest as I knocked on the door. A few moments later, she opened it, looking surprised to see me. "Alex, what's wrong?" she asked, her smile faltering when she saw my expression. I held up my phone. "What is this, Emma?" Her eyes widened in shock. She hesitated for just a second too long, and that was all the confirmation I needed. "Who is he?" I demanded. She opened her mouth, then closed it again, her hands shaking. I can explain." "Then explain," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Tears welled up in her eyes, but I wasn't sure if they were out of guilt or fear of getting caught. "It was a mistake," she finally admitted. "I didn't mean for it to happen." I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. "How long?" She looked down. 3 months. 3 months. 3 months of betrayal while we planned our future together. 3 months of lies while I devoted myself to making her happy. I clenched my fists, trying to steady my breathing. "Was it ever real, Emma?" She reached for me, but I stepped back. "Alex, please, I love you. It was just a stupid mistake." I laughed bitterly. "A mistake? A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is saying something you don't mean in an argument. This was a choice." I turned and walked away, leaving her standing in the doorway, sobbing, but I felt no sympathy, only heartbreak. The next morning the sun rose, on what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Instead, it was the day I had to tell everyone the wedding was off. My parents were shocked. Her parents were devastated. The guests whispered in confusion, wondering what had happened. Emma begged me to reconsider. She cried, she apologized, she swore it would never happen again. But I knew that trust, once broken, is almost impossible to rebuild. I stood in front of everyone and made the hardest announcement of my life. "There will be no wedding today," I said, my voice steady despite the pain. I have just learned something that makes it impossible for me to move forward. I appreciate you all being here, but I cannot marry someone who has betrayed me." Gasps filled the room. Emma burst into tears, but I felt free. As I walked away, my best man patted me on the back. "You did the right thing, man." Maybe I had, but it still hurt like hell. It's been a year since that day. The pain has lessened, but the lessons remain. I learned that love should never be built on deception. I learned that sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you can do. Most importantly, I learned that the right person will never make you question your worth. And when I find her, I'll know what real love feels like. Until then, I'm learning to love myself again. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever been betrayed, remember, better things are always ahead.